Welcome to the First Customers Podcast. Today we have Benjamin Shaffer with us from Goldback. He's their in-house legal counsel and community builder. Goldback had 0 customers in 2019, and in just 4 years, they've grown to over 1 million customers. Amazing growth. Looking forward to hearing this story. Benjamin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you.
All right. So we were talking a little bit beforehand, and you said that you were actually Goldback's first customer. So tell us a little bit how you got introduced with it and how the company got started.
You know, it's really hard to say exactly who the first customer is, but I was definitely in that first week. So how did it get started? Well, it comes down to the problem of money, the problem of gold. We created this Goldback as a solution to some monetary problems. Money, of course, is usually just made out of paper, right? And it only works if you trust it. It's only, I like to say, it's all monopoly money. It just depends on if you're still playing the game. It's all just paper, right? So we wanted to make gold money. But you know how hard it is to do that with a gold coin? If you've got one gold coin from the U.S. Mint, it's worth more than $2,000. And if you cannot make change for anything smaller than $2,000, how are you going to buy lunch?
Yeah.
You know? So that was the problem that we were trying to fix. And yes, I was one of the very, very first customers for Goldback. I didn't know about it when it was being invented, but the very first week, and I've since, of course, come to work for the company, but in the very first week, I was actually at a little farmer's market type place with my kids. And the inventor and founder of Goldback, Jeremy Corden, was there with a friend. And he was just asking some of the people who had the little booths there if they would be interested in the invention of a local currency that would be made out of gold. And at the time, he'd only invented the 1 and the 5 note. So there were only these two kinds, just a 1 and a 5. No other bills yet, and or notes, right? Just 1s and 5s.
Yeah.
And I was the managing partner at a small law firm in the town. And I said, well, I have a business. And he says, oh, yeah, cool. Well, would you take payment in gold? And I said, absolutely. As an attorney, I had already taken gold as payment. I had one of those about $2,000 coins that someone paid me as a retainer. And then I billed against that amount. And then once I'd earned the coin, I got to keep the coin, right, after I'd done a certain amount of legal work for him. And so I was like, yeah, sure I would. But it's really hard to do that when you can't bill it in small increments like I was doing, right?
Right.
And he goes, yeah, but look at these. And one Goldback at the time of launch, that was the first event he went to. It was the first time he was talking to business owners about his invention. And they had just made the prototypes of just the 1 and the 5. He said, okay, well, this is worth about $2.75 at the time it was. Would you take these? And I said, absolutely. That's so useful. So I signed up my business. And so I was the very beginning of the network, was that I signed up my business to say, this is the first place in town where you can come and you can spend this kind of money instead of, paper money.
So are there any, you would know as a lawyer, are there any legal implications of paying for things in currency outside of, the U.S. currency? Or
yeah, and there are. And actually, that's one of the big selling points. The nice thing is now this got started in Utah, but there's a dozen or so states that have similar laws. It got started in Utah because of the Utah Legal Tender Act. And there's legal tender acts in a bunch of states: Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, South Dakota, Idaho, Texas, New Hampshire, lots of places where they can treat gold the same way that you treat paper money. Right? Mm-hmm. No special taxes or anything like that. If there is a sales tax, in some states there is, in Utah there is, then you still have to collect a sales tax on the sale when you pay in gold. That's not the case everywhere, though. And then it's just treated as money. So there's no sales tax to trade in your dollars for Goldbacks because they're both considered legal tender. So that was one of the reasons why it was started here.
So is it still based on business owners agreeing or, consumers agreeing between each other, or can you take it to the bank yet? And
well, yes and no. Everything only exists because people agreed.
Right.
you can't give this to just anybody. There are a bunch of places, including recently, I want to say there's a couple of big chains that have said they're not even taking cash anymore. So you can't make anyone take this either. It may be that they don't take that. Sorry. So yeah, it's voluntary. It's fully voluntary. And there is a type of bank you can go to, Alpine Gold Exchange, or the UPMA.org. UPMA stands for the United Precious Metals Association. And you can do all kinds of financial services denominated in goldbacks or gold and silver coins even. But your average bank is connected to the Federal Reserve System. And if they're connected to the Federal Reserve System, they only deal in Federal Reserve notes. And therefore, you can't use them at those banks. So yeah, that is the tricky thing. Your local bank, if you just walk in and show them this, they might think it's cool, but they'd be in violation of their contract with the Federal Reserve probably if they took anything other than it.
If they exchanged
dollars. Yep.
Yeah, if they exchanged it for the Goldback or whatever. Okay. But you could put it in a safety security, like secure box or something like that, just as
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be
and in fact,
transaction.
There are a bunch of gold repositories that are now accepting this as a form of certified gold bullion. You can get a gold-backed IRA, for example, denominated in goldbacks. Or like in Texas, there's a state gold repository. You can use this state gold repository to deposit and withdraw goldbacks in Texas.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So, it's a lot of fun. And to me, the reason why I, as one of the earliest customers of the Goldback, was so excited is that I realized that you could do stuff with this you couldn't do with any of the other gold coins, right? I'd accepted a gold coin, like I said, as payment from a client once,
right.
but I could only bill against it until I finally earned the one whole coin, and then I could be like, yes, I finally own one gold coin. And what could I do with it? Well, not much. All I can really do with that is go somewhere and sell it for US dollars and then spend the US dollars.
Right.
Or I can hold on to the coin because gold generally appreciates in value. But then eventually, if I ever wanted to spend it, I have to go sell it for dollars and spend the dollars. With the goldbacks, though, I realized you could do a bunch of things you can't do with anything else. For one thing, it's fungible. Fungible means that you can interchange the same value even in different denominations. So I've got 5 goldbacks here, and I've got a 5. Right. Doesn't matter if it's this one or these, it's still 5 goldbacks. Same exact value, same exact exchange rate. It's 5 goldbacks either way. And that means not only can I hone in on any price, that you can't do that with the gold coins. Say $1,682.24. I can't pay that amount in a gold coin, but I can come within the exchange rate value of one goldback with the goldbacks and pay exactly that amount. Now, I mentioned when I first met him, he said, one goldback is $2.75 today. And that was the very first event he was at, where you could buy these goldbacks from him at the farmer's market, and we could talk to business owners, right? Today, it's over $4.
Because it is tied to the actual value of gold at any given time.
Yeah. And it's not just tied to it, as in this is a certificate and you can go get the gold somewhere else. This is the gold.
Right. So each one has a certain amount of gold. And for anybody just listening, not watching, he's holding up a literal, what looks like a dollar bill, but it's shiny gold in color and like texture and everything. It looks like a little thin piece of gold in the shape of a dollar, and it's all flexible and stuff. So that's
it's
super
just
interesting.
So darn thin.
Yeah. So the amount of gold in that is worth
about $4.
About $4. And I guess when they started, maybe they were aiming for a $1 equivalent, but just the value of gold went up since they started the company.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing that's tricky about inflation, right? Gold may fluctuate some, but it generally goes up because the strength of the dollar may fluctuate some, but we know that there's always inflation. It's practically a guarantee. One guarantee you have with your cash in your wallet, in your pocket, in your bank account right now is it will be worth less next year.
Right.
Whereas with a goldback, it could go the other way because it's made out of gold. And over the 4 years since that day when I first met them, about 4 years ago, to get my very first gold back, the value of it, has nearly doubled. It's like 80%
Yeah.
at least higher than it was.
So it's not just a currency; it's also a little bit of an investment,
Absolutely.
because your currency has actually got the solid
Hmm.
material attached to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we started with me just signing up my business, and then other people who were connected to the company, the founders, their families, people like that, saying, "Well, I'll take payment in the goldbacks." But it was a dozen or so local local places just in our county right here, Utah County, Utah. And then we started saying it to more and more people. Hey, would you accept payment in the goldback? And more businesses said yes. So now we're well over 600 businesses in Utah where you can pay with these right at the cash register, just like you would with any other kind of cash. And nationwide, certainly over 1,000, because we're operating in 5 states right now: Nevada, Utah,
Okay.
Wyoming, South Dakota, and New Hampshire, which is
Okay.
the only one that isn't contiguous.
All right. So haven't made it down into Texas yet.
Not made it down into Texas yet, but like I
Okay.
said, their gold bullion repository has accepted that this is legitimate
Okay.
gold bullion, just like say a gold eagle coin from the U.S. Mint
Right.
is
Okay.
accepted as legitimate gold bullion, and so is this.
So to get into a specific state, is it at the business to business level? You just have to find a single business that'll do it, or is it like there's some legal implications you have to get through before you can even get to that
Oh,
business level?
yeah, no, all you've got to do, and it's even on goldback.com, anybody who has a business in any of those 5 states, or even in a state where you'd like it to come, any business really,
Mm.
can go to goldback.com and give us their business info. And
Okay.
then we provide free advertising to the whole community of businesses that does it. Um, yeah, they just go to goldback.com, and there's a business sign up page on there. It's pretty easy to find, or even scroll down to. And then we provide free advertising and support. People will end up putting up a sticker like this for the cash register. It's just a simple
Okay.
little sticker that says "We accept the goldback," has a picture of some goldbacks on it.
Mm-hmm.
And people put that on their door or their window or their cash register or all of the above. And then when people see that, they know, hey, I can spend my goldbacks here. Because the real thing that's exciting is that we went from, our very first customer in 2019 to today, over 1 million people in America have
Wow.
goldbacks. And
Huh.
so we've built out a market that's worth many, many millions of dollars. We have about 60 million goldbacks in circulation, worth about $4 a piece.
Wow.
So we're talking like $100 million worth of goldbacks in
Wow.
circulation.
So let's get into some of the details about the actual customer acquisition, some of that kind of sales and marketing side of things. So you heard the guy just talking about Goldback at a local farmers market, and that's how you got into it. How
Mm-hmm.
did the company expand and reach out? What were some of the tactics that were used early on to get those first customers?
The most important thing was finding an existing network of people who were already interested, people who already had some knowledge about gold and its value. And so really the thing that two things actually that absolutely made Goldback explode. The first one was the United Precious Metals Association. We found with the United Precious Metals Association, upma.org is their website. They were already promoting the idea of using gold as money, and they're a nonprofit educational organization, kind of liberty-minded people who want to bring back the gold standard, right? So
Okay.
we had a similar goal. And we partnered with them actually before the goldbacks were fully made. We found some of their members who were willing to fund it, because in order to manufacture these, we had to get about $1 million worth of gold, physical gold, before we
Whoa.
could manufacture them into these. So
Wow.
how do you even get started so you can even have a product to show anybody? Well, we had to find some investors, and what we did was we networked with them, and they loaned us the first $1 million worth of gold. We
Huh.
manufactured them into the goldbacks, and that gave us a lot of hype, a lot of excitement. around that whole community. And they already had, I think at the time, they had several thousand members of their association. And so they became, again, some of our very first customers.
Okay.
And then, of course, we helped them grow. And this is one of the reasons why they were more than happy to partner with us, is that we did a giveaway that first year. This was a really powerful thing. We said, if you will become a member of the United Precious Metals Association, we will send you one Goldback for free so you can see what we're doing. And so it was, it was a little bit painful at first to get started.
Right.
Sometimes you get out what you put in. Well,
Yeah.
what we decided to put in was like $100,000 worth of gold, giving it away for free to get more people to come into the association. And then what did those people do? They bought millions of dollars worth of Goldbacks.
Wow. And did you mention what association this was, or does that need to be private?
Yeah, that's the United Precious Metals Association.
Oh, okay, that's what that was.
And that's why it's upma.org. Yep.
Okay,
and so that
cool.
partnership has been super powerful. In fact, even now, anybody you can sign up to become a member of it for free now. And you can literally do banking like services in Goldbacks through their website now. You can do peer-to-peer transactions. You can even invoice your customers, have them set up their account, and pay you in the Goldbacks electronically.
Wow, okay. That's really cool.
Now, the other really important thing that they helped us get in touch with is the United Precious Metals Association was already purchasing a bunch of United States Gold Eagles for their members. And so they had a relationship with a company that is a gold wholesaler. And that became our most important contact very, very quickly, was a group called MTI. And they are a distributing company that moves a lot of gold for gold sellers. Like if you've got a local coin store, where do they get their coins from? They don't buy them directly from the mint. They buy them from a wholesaler, right? And so we got in touch with them, and they already knew a lot of gold sellers. So that networking ended up being really vital as well. We actually gave them a pretty good deal because they were founding with us that they maintain, so that they would buy the Goldbacks from us and then sell them to their whole network. And that really got the word out more than a lot of other things. And it really got us into kind of the bigger markets. In gold and silver, there are your local coin stores. Those are great. And that's how you usually have access to talk to an expert who can explain gold investing to you. But they're not the big players. The big players are online bullion houses that deal in millions or maybe even billions of dollars worth of gold for financial institutions. Yeah. And so getting in them was a really big deal. Things like JM Bullion, SD Bullion, Finest Known is one of the portals, and a bunch of other places. Money Metals. I love Money Metals. And so, yeah, they move millions or billions of dollars worth of gold. And then they were like, well, okay, we'll throw your product on our offerings and see how it does. And that made a huge difference.
So how did you make the connections, or how did the business make the connections with these bigger organizations?
So really the first thing for like the United Precious Metals Association really came down to just being interested in what was going on locally with gold. The United Precious Metals Association was founded by the same guy, Larry Hilton is his name, who helped push the Utah Legal Tender Act through in the first place to make it so that gold would be recognized as legal tender. And so that wasn't too hard. What we did was we were just looking for a partner who shared a similar ideology. That does remind me of one other important partnership that was necessary before we got this going, which is the Valorum Mint. The Valorum Mint is who manufactures these. Okay. And what they were doing was they were making like collectibles. Gee, it's too bad it's not here in my office. Downstairs, we have a beautiful Declaration of Independence. Huge Declaration of Independence printed on 24 karat pure gold on the wall. And that was the type of thing that Valorum was doing. They were making these beautiful art pieces out of pure gold. Yeah. And they were doing like little commemoratives that were like collectible money. type things, but they were one-offs. It wasn't a monetary system. That's what we did that was different. But they had the technology to mint this, and that really got the juices flowing. And we met them through an organization called the Freedom Fest, which does big national conventions every year. And so really it was about building those connections with other people who were like-minded, right? And they wanted to create something similar. The difference is that the idea of the Goldback was something nobody else had ever tried before. That is what made it absolutely explode. People understood that gold was money. People understood that gold was valuable. There was gold investment groups. There was, this law in Utah because they wanted to make sure that gold investors wouldn't have to worry about paying a sales tax on their investments, and things like that. But it wasn't until we saw all of them together at the Freedom Fest that we said, wait a second, what if you could invest in gold and make it beautiful and small and thin enough that you could use it as regular cash? You could use it as money. And so, yeah, it's about finding those like-minded people and then combining it in a way that nobody had thought of before.
Because if you're going to have cash to spend anyway, yeah, it makes sense if you can convert it into something that's going to hold its value longer.
Right.
And still be able to have that flexibility of, being able to spend it anywhere, but also having the benefit of not, seeing your value just tank over time.
Right.
Okay. So it sounds like this is, again, another situation where if anybody's listened to the show before, they'll recognize you guys kind of defined that target audience and then found ways to meet them, get in front of them, especially physically, build those relationships within the niche who was going to be that target customer.
Exactly.
And then all those connections eventually turned into your first customers. And that's a pattern that seems to be echoed throughout many episodes of the show.
And one introduction always leads you to more introductions. Because we met some people at Freedom Fest, they introduced us to other people who went to other festivals, who connected to other political and investment and money-oriented things. We went to the Pork Fest in New Hampshire because some of the same people got excited to go to that. And that's short for Porcupine. It's a libertarian festival. And there were people there who were really excited about the Goldback. And once we found out about that, we're like, well, let's go talk to them too. And then that kind of opened up a space where we found out that people who were into like cryptocurrencies or libertarian politics, even if it's sometimes that's conservative Republicans, sometimes that is actually super liberal Democrats, because libertarianism kind of is a blend of those in certain ways. It's more about, because it's about liberty instead of about those ideologies. And once we found each person we talk to knows dozens of other people that we need to talk to, right? And simply getting them excited about how this isn't just a product, this is a movement. This is it's real money. Everyone needs money, and we're going to change the world, right? And once they saw it, felt it in their hands, got the concept in their head, they started sharing it with their friends. And it doesn't hurt that you can buy these for about $4 a piece, right? So people would spend $20, get 5 of them, and then give them away to 5 friends.
It seems like the perfect timing for this episode, because this is like the perfect Christmas gift stocking stuffer, because it literally looks like the Willy Wonka golden ticket kind of design. Like it's that flashy gold material. And so does it like get into some of the details of the actual currency itself? Can you fold it, or does it have to be like in that specific kind of flat position all the time? I mean, what's the...
We'd have these fun gift envelopes to keep them flat. And we do have wallets that we sell that will keep them flat. Any checkbook style wallet will do.
Right.
But they actually are super bendable.
Whoa, check that out. Okay, and he's bending it up just like you would fold a piece of paper.
Now, here's the thing. If I crease it hard, if I give it a full crease, it's metal. That crease becomes permanent. It'll never go back to completely normal. It'll never be completely pristine again. But here's the cool thing. As a circulating currency, doesn't matter how much you beat it up. If the gold is still inside, it is still worth its face value. And the company Goldback Inc. that I work for, and through most of its distributors and subsidiaries, will trade you any old, worn Goldback for a brand new one anytime.
Okay. And so if you melted it down, I guess the guarantee is that there's that much gold actually in the Goldback.
That's correct. And actually, this is kind of exciting for us. A new website just launched today, verifiedgoldbacks.com, where they're actually show 3 different tests that they did on the Goldbacks in order to prove that they really do have the amount of gold in them. Every Goldback has it written on the bottom exactly how much it is. So one Goldback is 1/1000th of a troy ounce of pure gold.
Okay, cool.
And
so the higher denominations have more gold in that Goldback.
So
like 5
thousandths is the same as 1/200th.
Okay.
Of a troy ounce of pure gold. It says on the 5. All the way up to the 50, which is 50 thousandths, or in other words, 1/20th.
So by the time you go way up there, you just got a brick of gold because it's got so much gold in it.
Yeah, in fact, that's the thing. People, because there's a 50 note, and I'll show you a whole set of them.
That's cool.
Because the 50 note has 50 on it, people go, oh, man, you should make 100 Goldback note. That'd be so much cooler if it had 100. Oh my gosh, it wouldn't bend anymore. That would be huge, right? It'd be so thick. Each one gets thicker and heavier. Actually, you can, if you feel it in your hand, if you hold a 1 in one hand and a 50 in the other, or a 25 even, you can tell a massive weight difference just in your hand. Even a blind person can tell you if the Goldback is real or what denomination it is because of the different size and shape and weight. So
it's really cool.
Yeah, they have those different amounts. And of course, 50 Goldbacks, it's already worth about $200. You don't need to carry a bill larger than a $200 bill in your wallet most of the time. That would be a lot.
Right.
And heck, if you had a whole stack of them, you can buy a car or something.
Right.
Or a house.
Yeah.
Even.
And I guess there is some security issues that come up if you're just out here flashing these Goldbacks around. Like, I guess you're not getting them out of an ATM machine or anything, though, at this point.
Actually, if you go to goldatm.com, there are a series of Goldback ATMs where you can get them right out of an ATM.
Dude, you got to be careful about the position of that ATM.
You do. Most of them are in places that have security cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But it's true. If you start flashing it around, we like to say that
definitely gets attention.
Once you have a Goldback, you're not going to lose your money. Well, unless you get mugged.
Right. Yeah,
because it's not going to inflate away. It's sound money. It's real gold. You're not going to lose your investment unless you get mugged because, people want your Goldbacks.
Because it is actually physically valuable.
Exactly.
And so you wouldn't be carrying around gold coins all the time, kind of for that similar reason.
Sure.
But if you're wanting to spend it, that's super convenient. That's really cool.
It fits right in your wallet, and it's a great way to do it. Here's the fun thing too: if you buy Goldbacks, you can often buy Goldbacks for slightly under the exchange rate. The exchange rate is done by the average of the whole free market, right? What the market is treating them at. But if you buy them direct from distributors, what matters isn't its market value. What matters is how much it costs to manufacture, right? So Goldback Inc., we're basically the wholesaler, the manufacturing wholesaler, basically. We get them manufactured by the Valorum Mint. We get them to distributors like the big bullion houses, and then they sell them to the public. Well, some of them want to undercut their competition. So some of them will sell them for less than the exchange rate. And then you go into a local business that accepts Goldbacks in any of the 5 states that we've got them in and have their own series, or even some of the states that don't have a series yet already have businesses that'll take these because they're gold, after all. You go in there and you spend it, they're going to credit you the actual market value. The exchange rate is what you're going to get. Wow. So if you could buy it for 5 or sometimes even 10%, but often you really can get between 5 and 10% less than the exchange rate when you buy them. Then you go in and spend it, and you've actually saved that money.
Yeah,
by using the
Yeah, that's
goldbacks
cool.
instead of using the US dollars. So if someplace, because that's kind of the problem, right? A lot of times people will get these and they'll be like, oh, this is too cool. I'm never giving this up. I'm putting this in my safe. It'll be there for later, but I don't want to, I'm not going to spend it. I want my gold, you know?
Yeah.
But that's a mistake when it comes to the Goldback. That's what you have to do with gold coins or bars, right? But with the Goldback, just turn some of your spending money into Goldbacks and go ahead and spend them and then buy more. Because not only are you not going to lose your money, you might even save some money.
Right. So you can actually buy more with it potentially than what you spent on it.
Yep.
What about the like digital marketing tactics and that kind of thing? Are you guys posting on Facebook and all the TikTok or whatever? Are there certain channels you've seen that perform better? Can you speak to that side of things a little?
Yeah. We've been doing quite a bit of that recently. Honestly, podcasts have been helpful because people are interested in a new movement like this.
Yeah.
And so there's videos on YouTube and various podcasts and stuff like that. But we're on Facebook, of course. We're on Instagram. The Reddit community has been surprisingly responsive as a good way to reach out. There's like Wall Street Bets, everyone's heard of. There's also things like Wall Street Gold and Wall Street Silver stackers and things like that. Those are groups that are interested in the precious metals. And Wall Street Bets, sometimes it comes up in there. And so by being active on those things, I know we've found a lot of people those ways as well.
Okay, very cool.
But yeah, it's always exciting if you can get the ear of a podcaster or a video maker, because people don't want to just hear it from us. I mean, this is their money they're talking about. They want to have absolute trust that they know this has been verified. This is real gold. And I can say all day long, no, I promise you, it really is gold. But you're like, yeah, okay, fine. But I want to hear it from somebody else, somebody who's tested you and proven it. And so that really helps a lot too, is that we've had a bunch of people. In fact, every batch is third-party assay. So we do have them testing it. And when they do, that's been great publicity for us. One guy, totally backyard gold collector, no influence from us at all. We didn't even know he existed. Took a bunch of goldbacks, melted them down, made a coin, made a little gold bar out of the gold he got out of the goldbacks, tested it, did a whole video on it. And when it came out, we were like, that's so cool. Now, of course, it destroyed a lot of the value because it's no longer in these really convenient interchangeable denominations. It's no longer part of the money system. It's now just like unknown random gold bar, right?
Right.
But no, he proved it. It's pure. It's all of that, and all the gold is in there. So, stuff like that added to our credibility a lot. You got to look for those influencers.
So is there different other materials in there in addition to that amount of gold?
There's no, I would say there's nothing but pure gold in there. But out there, the outside of the Goldback is 2 sheets, one on the front, one on the back, of clear polymer. That helps.
That helps give it a little more stability or whatever, so it doesn't just crinkle up.
Because if it was just gold foil, you could rip it really easily.
Gotcha.
But these cannot be ripped. They're waterproof. They're almost indestructible.
That's cool.
Well, I should say the boss says, don't tell them they're almost indestructible. People can cut them with scissors. There's things that they can do. And I'm like, yeah. But they're not going to fall apart in your pocket, is my point, right? They're waterproof and almost impossible to take. This was another fun video we did that helped just to get the word out. When we noticed how hard they were to tear, I did a contest at an event one time where I said, if you can rip one in half, I will give you 100 Goldbacks, which is worth almost about $400.
Yeah.
All you got to do is rip it with your bare hands. I'll give you $400. Nobody collected. We had tons of people try, big, huge guys. And so we made a video about that afterward. They were like, let's go to a gym and let's find some of these huge bodybuilder types and say, I will give you a prize if you can rip this in half. None succeeded.
Really? Wow.
So they are pretty tough. But besides the fact that they're tough, the other thing that that's useful for is anti-counterfeiting. One of the things you'll see in gold and silver is sometimes there'll be an assay certificate of authenticity saying we guarantee this is real gold or this is real silver. Basically, that's what a Goldback is. The assay certificate is printed on the front of every Goldback. guaranteeing its weight and purity by law, as well as having all the anti-counterfeiting features built into the note in such a way that they cannot be counterfeited, which is actually a really big problem in gold and silver. People will take sometimes even an entire ounce of gold or 2 ounces of gold, and they'll coat a gold bar with real gold, sometimes thick amounts of real gold, but they'll hide a tungsten bar inside.
Gotcha.
Well, some of those they'll pass almost all the tests that an ordinary person could do without destroying the bar. It'll pass the test.
Right.
And it'll say, yes, this is exactly 10 ounces of pure gold. But it turns out, no, you've only got a half of an ounce coating the tungsten bar. And fakes like that are popping up all the time. It's really frustrating. Well, no one has ever counterfeited a Goldback, not even come close, because of these anti-counterfeiting features. And my favorite of which is the reverse side. If you look at the back of a Goldback, there's no printing, but you can still see the reverse image. And there's no printing there. That's just the pure elemental gold that you're seeing. But because we use this vacuum deposition process, it's called, you could think of it sort of like 3D printing with lasers.
Okay.
We're laying down the gold the way we want to onto the polymer. It takes on these attributes, including all the security features embedded in the gold itself at an atomic level.
Crazy.
So if you look at one of these, if you ever get one of these, look at it under a microscope or even just a jeweler's glass, and you'll see all these tiny, tiny, tiny ridges where we've built up the gold inside the security features.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get one of these. I mean, it just looks too cool not to have one. If you can just spend a couple bucks to get one, this is definitely going in the stockings for Christmas.
Even just to show it off. Yeah, put one in every stocking, and everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, I've got a piece of gold.
Yeah. No, that's really cool that you made it affordable to have a piece of gold, because I think that's one of the things that keep people. It's like, yeah, gold's better than having paper around, but it's like you got to spend $2,000 to just get into gold.
Right. Yeah. So think about it this way: if you're so like, I'm going to save a certain amount of money every month, right? Because I know I need to be saving either or business or personal savings, and you're thinking I need to set aside a certain amount every month. Are you setting aside more than $2,000 every month so you can buy one gold coin a month? No, probably not. You might be saying, look, I'm going to set aside $200, or I'm going to set aside $500 a month, or maybe I'm going to set aside $50 a month or 20, right? Just to have something that you're setting aside. And if you wanted to put that in gold or precious metals, you just couldn't. You can't do it with only $20. Even 1 ounce of silver is worth more than $20. So what do? Well, you can buy 5 of these.
Yep. That's
and
cool.
There you go.
Yep. So do you guys send it to influencers sometimes, or do you pay influencers to talk about it, like on TikTok? We've heard some people have success doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, we actually have done some of that. One of the we did that early on in 2020. We took a set of 100 Goldbacks, basically what I've got in the frame here.
Right.
Except we gave them 10 ones, so they'd have some to show off and give away. We gave them 10 of the ones. And we sent it to several of the YouTube channels that were already gold and silver stacker channels about what coins to buy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And with a little note that said, we want you to see these. We want you to try them out. We want you to study about it. And we would appreciate it if you did a video, but, form your own opinion, right? So we sent it to them without strings attached. It wasn't like a sponsorship where it was like, we'll only give you a look if you agree with us, right? We just sent them to everybody. And that was really helpful. We only had 1 or 2 dissenters saying, I don't know about this. Almost everyone was really impressed and excited about it. And it also built up our credibility again, because we were trying to be neutral about it. And we gave it to people, and some people did a negative take.
Right.
And it was like, hey, at least it's being talked about.
Yeah.
And then now we know what people don't like, so we can try to address those concerns.
So do you have your own, like, I guess the company's matured over time. Do you have your own marketing team and everything, and they're like putting out content on a regular basis, or is it all just on third party? Okay.
They are now. We've got 2 marketing guys. They're great. And we just we make sure that they put they create some content, including shorts like TikToks.
Yeah.
And then they put it out on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and then we'll link it to all the Instagram and so forth, so that it'll get on the socials. So what they've done is they've really kind of built an integrated marketing plan that's mostly online, and where it'll go through each of the major things, and so they're trying to put out something every week.
Okay.
But
So
it has matured quite a bit to get to that level. Really, our first customers all came from word of mouth, gifting, and pounding the pavement. I mean, I've worn out a couple of pairs of shoes just walking down main streets, showing it to business owners and saying, "Hey, would you take this for payment? Well, why don't you sign up your business here?" So,
wow. And I think that's a lot of times that's what it takes for any new business. You have to have that doing the stuff that's manual and not scalable up front, so that you can grow big enough to do that stuff that's really scalable and on the digital level.
I mean, you want to build a pipeline, but until you have a pipeline, you just have to do one bucket at a time and just carry the dang bucket to get it moving. It primes the pump. Since I'm using water analogies.
Yeah. So there's some entrepreneurs that listen to this show. Are there any books you might recommend, or overall lessons you've learned from being involved with this company that you would share with the community?
Yeah. I thought this one was really interesting. New Money for a New World.
Okay.
It's basically about the way in which every business owner needs to be aware that monetary policy impacts you. I think a lot of times people don't really realize how much monetary policy is messing with their books. I'll give you one example that I did. I told you I was one of the very first businesses to sign up to accept Goldbacks.
Yeah.
Well, I was still just managing the small law firm. And we said that we'd accept the Goldbacks, and we made a price list. So an hourly rate. When you pay a lawyer, you usually pay a certain amount of money per hour. Or sometimes there's flat fee services like make me a trust or estate plan for my will and trust, so that I will be able to pass on my estate. Things like that usually have a flat fee. Well, we made a whole price list of everything in dollars and in Goldbacks, so that it'd be easy for people to just have it for reference. Well, it wasn't very long before someone came in and said, "Well, I'm not going to pay you in Goldbacks. I'm going to pay you in dollars because you're charging me too much in Goldbacks." And I was like, whoa, I don't know about that. When I made the chart, the whole point of making the price list was that you got a 10% savings for using the Goldbacks, not a markup. But I went and checked the exchange rates, which I hadn't been doing because I'd been excited about it, but I hadn't checked it daily or something. And I checked the exchange rate, and wouldn't you know it, he was paying like a 6% markup to pay in Goldbacks instead of dollars, making the total markup 16%. The US dollar had lost 16% of its value versus my prices as compared to the Goldback in like 1 year.
Wow.
And I had not changed my US dollar prices. You don't redo your whole fee schedule all the time.
Yeah.
But it had snuck up on me. And I realized, oh my goodness, if you're not taking into account monetary policy and what is going on with inflation, no matter what era of business you're in, no matter what kind of business you're in, then you're losing money. And it's dangerous not to be really careful and dynamic about what you're pricing things at. So yeah, New Money for a New World. Thought that was an interesting one.
Yeah, check that out.
About monetary policy and what to be aware of, so that, even if we only have the regular inflation, you still have to be aware of it.
And what do you think briefly about comparing Goldback and gold in general versus like crypto or Bitcoin specifically?
Sure. I have some friends who are Bitcoin maximalists. Bitcoin all the way, nothing but Bitcoin. I do have a bunch of Bitcoin myself. I am actually far more open to a bunch of other different types of crypto than just Bitcoin. I'm personally open to it because Bitcoin proved the idea that decentralization increases the trustability, and usability of a currency system. But I don't love that Bitcoin, um, it can't be adapted for some of the other things I want. Like, I'm a big fan of Monero because
Yeah.
Monero as a
Privacy.
cryptocurrency has maximum privacy. The joke in Monero is I lost all my Monero in a boating accident. And the reason that's a joke is because no one will ever know if you own any, or if you spent any, or where it is, or where it's going. Monero is completely private, and so I like that they can add these security features. By making another crypto. So Bitcoin's great, and like I said, I've got a bunch of it, but I really like some of these other cryptos as well because they can add additional functions, which can be useful functions. But let me just say, I think when it comes to the future of money, as brilliant as that concept is, it's not enough for it simply to be decentralized or for it simply to be done through cryptography so you can have this blockchain concept where everyone verifies everyone else. That's great, but it's not real. It's not touchable, right? I can't hold a Bitcoin in my hands. If I'm hungry, I can't turn a Bitcoin into a meal unless everybody is not only accepting it, but everyone has electricity. Everybody has some network that they can actually verify that transaction on. There's no cash solution in crypto alone. And really, that makes the Goldback kind of the complementary opposite of these other alternative currencies, because this not only is physical, it's not really digital. It's something you hold in your hand, period. It doesn't matter if the power goes out. It doesn't matter if the US dollar collapses. It doesn't matter if there's a world war. It doesn't matter if there's anything. You can never lose your keys to it. It is literally just physical gold. There's a certain kind of security in that, and I think as long as we human beings remain physical creatures who have physical needs like food, we're going to want a physical currency sometimes so that we can have that cash solution in our hands that is real, that's tangible. So I do think the future of money could be both, though. Maybe what we need is a crypto version that verifies the Goldback holdings that then you can redeem from. And we are looking very heavily right now in doing a partnership with one of the big stablecoin makers. So that the Goldback will be a stablecoin, always exchangeable for one physical Goldback for one digital. And hopefully it'll be fully cryptographic so that people can actually verify those nodes on their own blockchain, on their own systems, and hold everyone accountable and make sure that gold is really there.
Right. I heard a few years ago there was some crypto company trying to do a gold-backed cryptocurrency where they had that much gold that represents, I guess, all the crypto that was in distribution or something.
But, so there's two big companies that do this. Well, and I guess there's a third that isn't quite exactly a crypto, and that is people will use things like the Glint card. That's from Europe, where they'll have gold in the vault, and then you can turn that into US dollars and spend it on a card. We actually have something similar at Alpine Gold through the United Precious Metals Association. We have what's called the Tether card. It's this little Visa here.
So you can spend it digitally if you want to through the basic kind of credit card machines and everything.
But then there's also Paxos, and my favorite, Kinesis. Kinesis Metals actually has a vaulted gold that then you can trade digitally through their blockchain.
Really cool.
It's really quite stable because the gold is really there. They actually vault the gold, and then you just trade the ownership of it. And then, of course, you can trade fractional ownership. But if you ever want to hold the gold in your hand, if you ever want to take it out of the vault, you have to have enough to buy the whole gold bar, right? That's a ton. The cool thing about a gold-backed crypto, if it was actually made with the Goldback, would be you could make a withdrawal of like $4 worth and literally take custody of the physical gold.
That's cool. I really love what you guys are doing. I think it's a cool project and it's innovative, and I like anything that's kind of pushing on giving us more options at the currency level. I think that's really important, especially with the crazy inflation we've seen these past few years. I was already convinced we needed more options pre-COVID and everything, once as crypto was getting more popular. But then after seeing everything that's happened since then, it's never been more clear that we need more options. It seems like it's wise to have some flexibility and some diversity
It's
in
all
how you store
it's
your
all
wealth.
about having that having options, like you said, right? It's all about the flexibility. You don't have a free market if you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't have a free market unless you have a free market currency and an actual ability to say, I'm going to choose this and actually use an alternative. And so I think that the free market is going to prove which one is the better system. Everyone accepts the dollar right now because it's the default, not because it's the best idea or the best system, but because it's something that a lot of people use, and that makes it useful. But I think the more, if we can get to the point where we go from about 1,000 businesses that accept the Goldback to maybe millions of businesses that accept the Goldbacks, then I think that we might be able to say, actually, this is a better choice. Maybe we can crowd out the system. And this is almost a sad brag because I do love cryptocurrencies. But if you're in Utah, at least, and you've got some crypto and you've got some Goldbacks, it is easier to spend the Goldbacks than it is to spend Bitcoin. There are more businesses that accept payment in Goldbacks than accept payment in any form of cryptocurrency.
Yeah. I think it's definitely an easier concept to get. She's like, hey, here are the Goldbacks. Can people spend them here or not? Versus, hey, let's get you all set up to make sure you got your wallet. And that's been the problem with crypto from the beginning, I think, is that user experience is a little rough compared to what everybody's used to.
If it had been easier, I would be a crypto millionaire, right? I mean, I remember the day. I remember the day one of my friends was all excited that Ethereum had gotten to all the way up to $1 per Ethereum. And he was like, and literally you could buy any amount in this. Just, you should totally do it. And I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I'm more than happy to just buy, I don't know, 50 of them for $1 each, whatever. Or 100 of them for $1 each. How do I do it? And he's like, I can't really explain it to you over the phone. Do you know what I mean? And then I was like, well, I guess I'll wait, and boy, did I miss that boat. Same thing with Bitcoin. People were like, it's been fun. I've been mining some Bitcoin. I've got a few on my computer now. And I'm like, how do you do it? And they're like, well, I can't really explain it to you over the phone. Maybe I'll come over sometime and do that with you. And then it didn't happen until I didn't get any Bitcoin until it was worth like 20 grand or something. I mean,
Yep. Well, really cool, man. I appreciate you taking the time with us today. You guys check out Goldback. What's the website?
Goldback.com.
Goldback.com.
It's singular, just goldback.com. Okay. And first thing you're going to see when you go to goldback.com is the exchange rate. And then if you scroll down or use one of the menus, if you're a business owner, please give us your business information, right? Anybody who's listening, because what we're trying to do is build that list. It's no obligation and it's no expense to be on that list. But as we build a community of people who really use this sound money, that's when it gains its power. When you accept the Goldbacks or spend the Goldbacks, this money stays local. It stays in the country. This doesn't get shipped off to China or consumed by the federal deficit or any of that stuff. It stays a private form of real value that you can put right in your pocket, right? So what we want to do is build that community, and that takes more people saying, I'll do it. I mean, maybe you live in Tennessee or something, and you're thinking, well, that's not one of the Goldback states. Doesn't matter. You can still take gold as payment. I suppose I mentioned Tennessee instinctively because they're one of the states that has a legal tender act. They treat gold as money. So even though there's no Goldback community there, it's still money because it's gold. So you might as well just start using it.
Awesome. All right, everybody. That's been another episode of the First Customers Podcast. This has been really interesting. Birthing a new currency for the U.S. and the world. So check it out at goldback.com. And we'll see you on the next episode of the First Customers Podcast. Thanks, Benjamin.
Thank you.